twins.
Bobbsey twins?
Is that the...
You probably don't even know what Bobbsey twins
Hi, everyone.
mean.
If anyone knows who the Bobbsey twins are, you can leave a comment. I think we bring this up every time we're on Facebook Live. My mom said that and I had no reference to who those people might be. But we're not really the Bobbsey twins today.
No.
We don't match.
Not really. We only match when we're shoe buying.
Yeah,
yes.
which we don't even do that today, but
no.
I'm in kind of a different look for me, and you have become very into blue lately.
Oh, I know. I am into blue.
Yeah.
Blue paint, blue shoes, blue
Vests.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Well, anyway.
Well, I haven't been here in a while, so if you have never seen me before, my name's Alex. I'm Linda's daughter. I think last time I was here was sometime in the summer when it was very hot. And I've been in Guatemala, New York City, and London really since then. So good to be back.
Yeah, well, it's always great to see you.
It's always. This is kind of the Linda showcase today, as usual, but we got to talk about one of your Threads magazine articles, how many Threads articles have you written?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I used to write for them very frequently, and I've probably written for Threads for 30 years. But there was a pretty long gap in there when I really didn't write for them. But I'm kind of back in the fold again, and I have an article in the current Winter Threads magazine 2022, and I'm working on another one, which will be out, I have no idea when, but so yeah. But I've always had a nice relationship with Threads and the editors there, and I love the magazine, so it's a good deal.
How did you get into that?
Well, that's an interesting question. Boy, you're asking me all kinds of things.
I'm going to interview you today.
Right. Well, some people don't know the history of the Sewing Workshop, which was a school in San Francisco, which I purchased in 1991. And at the time, David Coffin was one of the editors and lived in California and taught at the Sewing Workshop. And so he was aware of the teachers that we had there and the kind of classes that we offered. And he then asked me to write, and that's when I started writing. And then I became a contributing editor for some years. I unfortunately, although I realize since I didn't really have to do this, but I resigned from my contributing editorship because I was going to be involved in the production of a different magazine, another magazine in New York, which did not happen. And so I've always been really, really sorry that I gave that up because I would have liked to have remained as a contributing editor. But so just as the people, Judy Newcomb, Carol Frazier, Sarah McFarland, all those people who are editors of Threads, I've just gotten to know them over the years. But it was the San Francisco connection. Believe me, they didn't seek me out in Topeka, Kansas initially, but that San Francisco school, in its heyday, was the place to go for classes and had over 50 California, West Coast artisans and teachers who were teaching, and it was a pretty fabulous place. You were there as a kid.
I was there.
I used to take you there and put you under the table and tell you to be quiet while we...
I do remember that, and I would play with my stuffed animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if you say Topeka, Kansas now, people would know that was where Linda Lee reigned.
Well, maybe. We brought a little spice to the Midwest, that's for sure. But before we get into that, shall we just announce what's happening with Sew Confident?
Sure. Well, hello to our Sew Confident members. If you're a member, either monthly or yearly, go ahead and leave a comment and tell us why you love Sew Confident, because we love to just hear from our members about feedback. So just say hi and happy November, because this is a new project.
That's right.
Let's show it off. The pattern is called the Mayfair Coat, and that is releasing on November 11th. So that is not out yet, but here we have released 2 kits today. They're on the website. So this is our take on a white raincoat with some color blocking. So we've picked 2 different colors. One is a white with black, and then one is a white with camel. So I'm going to show a picture here of a Theory coat with similar lines, just really sleek. It looks great with, full black underneath. So kind of an updated version of this white coat. So we've taken this type of look, and just made our Mayfair coat. So what are some cool features about this pattern? We have a double collar here, a double stand-up collar. We also have pockets. What do you call these pockets?
Well, these are not cut apart yet, but these are. These are just an inseam pocket. This is a pocket actually that's taken from the Crossroads jacket pattern that was taken from an old Bisono shirt pattern. So this pocket's been around for us for several years. Erin made this coat. She just finished it yesterday, so hasn't released the basting across the opening, but it is a really great pocket that is hidden in a way. Some top stitching shows, but the pocket's on the inside of the garment. It does have similar collar lines to our opal jacket, if you've ever made that, and this same connection of the collar to the garment is the same as the opal. We have a nice inverted pleat on the back. This was the first iteration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw this one and we kind of all put it on at one point and kind of looked at ways we could adapt it. So you'll see even the version from this to this, we have included that back panel to go all the way around in the camel color. So this is how the pattern is. And we also have included bands on the sleeves. So you'll see that that color goes into the arm as well. So this is an unlined coat. It's very loose fitting. It also has snap closures, so it's got 3 snaps here to close it up. And these kits are on sale today for $135, I think.
I think
yes.
That's right.
$135.
Right.
And it comes with everything you need to make this kit.
The snaps, the 2 spools of thread, and this fabric. Tell them about the fabric.
Oh, this is a Microtech rain repellent fabric.
From Japan.
From Japan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a nice lightweight, all-purpose. I think I would wear it from the Texas rains to the Minnesota rains to wherever. I think it's just a nice piece with a nice generous sleeve that will go over a lot of things, jackets and sweaters and sweatshirts and whatever you might have underneath.
This isn't a pattern you have to use it for a raincoat. It's called the Mayfair Coat, so we've had it made up in a boucle, but just for this kit for this year, for this month, for Sew Confident, Linda's going to be teaching you how to work with raincoat fabric. And so that's kind of the specialty of the month, as you would say.
Right.
So later on today at 1 p.m., just for our Sew Confident members, we're going to see you guys on a Facebook Live. So that's, again, just for Sew Confident members. So that's on your private Facebook page. But we're gearing up for 2023 for Sew Confident. So if you aren't a member yet, you should be. We have monthly and yearly subscribers. I think we're going to kind of go with the same plan. We have 12 projects for you guys next year. We kind of had a big meeting yesterday and mapped it all out. So we're excited.
Yeah, we are excited. It was a fantastic day and a fantastic meeting.
Yeah. So stay tuned for the Mayfair Coat. That pattern releases on the 11th, as well as we have a Zoom Q&A on December 2nd, and then Linda's video will release on November 18th.
Right.
So for Sew Confident members, just check your course page or the Facebook group for updates, but all of our dates are a little pushed back this month.
Right. So you and I have been to London, as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't even remember all of the things that we did, but
both of us packed in carry-ons.
we did.
Matching
We did
carry-ons.
not come home in carry-ons.
We came home in carry-ons, but we shipped and, I guess, carried a few more things.
Yeah, it was tricky because, of course, there's a few little things you want to buy in London, like shoes, for example, which had to be shipped. But at any rate, we did visit about 3 artist studios, 2 in Bath and 1 in London. And the first one we visited was the studio of Karen Nichol. And I was blown away. I don't know about you. Maybe.
Yeah, she was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, this woman is a really distinguished British artist who has worked for a lot of high-end fashion designers, and she does machine embroidery. But she works on, do you remember the name of the
I was
machine?
just going to ask you. It's
I know.
a Singer, but it's an old Singer.
But it's a special kind of machine that you can't get anymore.
Yeah.
That's just a single stitch, machine embroidery,
Freehand motion,
industrial looking machine made in Sweden or something like that. I don't know. I may be misquoting. But
and what's funny was she mentioned that, and then the whole rest of the trip, everyone else used those. So we saw another studio, she had that same machine.
Right.
And we saw another studio, and she also mentioned using that. So
Right.
it's very common, but they're very hard to get. And if anyone on the trip remembers the name of that machine.
yeah,
let us know.
I don't know. But at any rate, her studio was in her house. It was a 2-story home, and the upper floor was a gallery. And we got to inspect these fabulous creations, wall hangings, pictures, artwork, up close. And she has, of course, over the course of her entire career, collected vintage baubles, everything from sequins to beads to hat embellishments to feathers to whatever. And she takes all kinds of fabrics and manipulates them with pleats and makes fringes out of them. And so one of the pieces that she had in her studio was this huge zebra with some flowers at the base. And I didn't leave London without buying it. I can't believe it, but I did. And so I don't have, of course, the zebra here because it's a really big piece. But if, we have a sewing workshop Instagram account, but I also have a private one, which I don't talk about very much. And it's under the name Linda_Lee_threads. So if you want to follow me, that's great. I don't usually post much about fashion or sewing or anything, but it's mostly just random things that I enjoy. And so I posted a picture of the zebra, which is in my entryway hall. I have green walls, and then I thought it was just so perfect with my black and white marble floor, a fabulous table that actually came from the San Francisco Sewing Workshop. I don't know if you even know that. A couple of vintage lamps, and so on and so forth. So if you want to see a really pretty picture of this, go to my Instagram page, and then you should really check out her website, KarenNichol.com, and her Instagram is KarenNichol1. So I think it'd be something fun. She has a book. She has a hardback of this book, and I looked it up today. Hardback copies.
As expensive as the zebra.
No, it was not as expensive as the zebra, but the hardback on Amazon, it was $136, and of this book, and other hard copies from like Abe Books and other places were like $500 and some. So they're collectible books. But she was selling this book. She's selling the paperback version of it on her website, and it's quite reasonable to buy this book from her. So anyway, I mean, it's just full of all of the different techniques and kinds of materials that she uses. And I think if you want some serious inspiration for embellishment, I suggest that you check out this book called Embellished by Karen Nichol.
I remember asking her at her studio what she wanted to be known for. And I remember her saying, well, that's a good question. I just think I want to be known as someone who's very innovative and always pushes the limit on things that I do, which is true. You go into her studio and she has hand embroidery, but she also does the paper collage thing. She's just multi-talented, kind of like you with all of your hobbies and painting. And
yeah, but she's a first-class trained and experienced artist.
Yeah, she actually went to got her master's in Detroit.
Oh, that's right, at Cranbrook.
Yep.
Right, I'd forgotten that. She is British, but she was educated in the United States. So, enough about Karen Nichol, but I hope you'll check her out because it's a fun person to follow. So, Threads Magazine, winter issue number 220. It's a gorgeous cover. This jacket is actually velveteen by Sandra Vecina. I thought that was really beautiful. But I was pleased to do an article for them on what we're wearing now. And, you know, we've all joked about the pandemic sweatpant thing and not dressing super well. And as we've come out of that, that has not gone away, but there's a more upscale way of presenting yourself, even as a casual dresser and someone who's not maybe back at work yet or ever, or maybe not partying every weekend and that sort of thing. But you want to look good and you want to revitalize your wardrobe. So the name of the article is Not So Basic Capsule Wardrobe, I think. Is that what it's called?
Not So Basic Capsule Wardrobe.
Right.
Yes.
And so, interestingly enough, because I didn't have a lot of time to sew an entire wardrobe, coincidentally, we had done the whole wardrobe concept for Sew Confident Series 11, 2022. So I sent them many of the clothes that we had done for the series of Sew Confident. So let's show the clothes, and then we can kind of talk about the concepts that are in this article. But I encourage you, even if you don't subscribe to Threads, go out and buy this magazine, because in addition to this, there's a fantastic article in here about Natalie Channon. There's a great pocket technique in here, Sandra Bettina's Velveteen Coat. It's a really good issue. So I think I would encourage you to find the issue or resubscribe or subscribe to Threads, or open the ones that you already get. So, all right. Well, shall we start with the jacket or the pants?
Yeah. Sure.
Well, let's start actually
Kind of in order of our
right.
Sew Confident releases also.
Right.
Anyway.
So this was the first jacket.
Yeah, this is the Sterling jacket. So this is a class. Really, all of these that we're going to talk about today are online workshops. So these are classes where Linda, through a video, will teach you how to really make these garments step by step. And at the time, we had kits, which will show you some fabrics that we have for this or would use for this.
Right.
But what's really fun about this garment, I love the hem details, the serged hems, and
yeah, one of the I try to find something in each of these videos where I'm teaching maybe not a new technique, but a way to utilize some things about our sewing machines that we don't always use. And so this has a rolled hem finish on it. Now it doesn't have to be. For instance, the one I have on, it was made by Lois Haskins. She was kind enough to sell this jacket to me, and she's done a more conventional hemming technique, which you can do, but the class is about the rolled hemming. And so it has this applied placket for the buttons, has a bit of a peplum, I guess we'll call it, on the bottom. That's slightly on the bias because it's a curved piece. The sleeve is set in a bit. You can see there's a seam here and a seam here. This is a variation of the Quincy, and that's a design that's been around for a long time. So we really love this fabric and garment. So we started with that last January, and then we added, the next class was
Hudson pants.
right. So we put a little plaid with this tone-on-tone matelassé, and we just wanted to give it a little kick on the bottom. The silhouette of the Hudson pants is a really nice shape and has been around for a long time, and I think will remain around for a long time. But we took the bottom and created these two front overlapping panels with another little panel on the back cut on the bias, so you could really see that change of detail. And we added the pocket from the West End pants to the Hudson and added a separate waistband. So we made some changes to the standard Hudson top, or excuse me, pants, and that was that beginning combo.
And it's interesting how these colors are also kind of neutral, so I think when we sold these kits, we had 5 different colorways. We had a lot, but burnt orange might not be a color you would think to really include in your wardrobe, but
right. But then when you put it with a sort of a surprise color, I mean, you might look at this and think, well, I need to wear it with brown or gold or orange. Well, how about pink? A dusty pink. So let's unbutton that and just kind of stick it under there. So the Crane Street was the next class. And the Crane Street has this interesting back to it that is in 3 separate panels that balloons out a little bit, and a very interesting neck binding that is narrow, but it's 2 pieces. So the front binding is a separate piece from the back neck binding, which is something we have not done much of. So here you get this kind of warm, cool thing going. I have on this sterling over a Crane Street as well. So I like the way this, the
It's a very
proportions.
flattering shirt.
Yeah, it's a great shirt. So that was the first combination. And so you start with some pants, and then you add a t-shirt, and it doesn't have to be just any old t-shirt. It can have a little bit of a flair to it. And then you maybe add a jacket. So then, if you want to start to mix this up a little bit, well, maybe you should talk about this, since we have the Crane Street out.
Well, the beginning of Linda's article mentioned, how joggers and sweatsuits were just so popular during 2020. I think if you Googled 10 best sweatsuits, so many things came up. And that, like she said, that really hasn't changed, but it's kind of, now you look at sweatsuits, jumpsuits, and you see them, and they're often all in the same color. So it's just going with like a monotone,
Both.
chrome look. So here we saw Linda's bright green wall earlier. So this is my house. I have lavender walls. And I matched my walls by having a lavender jumpsuit. So it's the same. It's a sweatshirt with sweatpants. And I didn't make any of this. This is a brand called Pangaea, which is a sustainable, literal sweatsuit brand. All you can buy are t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, and that's it. And they just come in really vibrant colors. If you look at the website, there's something about the fabric. I think it's made sustainably, less water is used, something about the cotton. But here I am in my version of a tone-on-tone look. And, Linda did the same here with the Crane Street. So the bottom pants are the Maison joggers. So here, you have the band at the bottom to kind of come in to narrow the leg. It has pockets, an elastic waistband, as well as a drawstring. And like we said, all of these pieces so far are classes. So the Maison Jogger online workshop we have available, the Crane Street Tee online workshop we have available, as well as the earlier pieces we saw.
This can be long sleeve as well, so if you want that look. Well, you found that brand because Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, Jennifer Lopez wore that lavender suit
Right.
On the streetwear.
Right.
So
exactly.
had to get it.
Of course. All right, so let's see. So then, to vary the jacket approach, you have a shorter jacket here, and then you might want a longer jacket, something completely different, a little flowier. This could double as loungewear, but it could also be dressed up and worn to a party or a dinner out or a cruise or whatever. So this is the Ikena jacket, which is a project from actually the year before. Am I right about that? Series 10, which is also a class. And the class talks about baby piping, working with this band, adding pockets. It talks about matching motifs. So
That's a good skill to learn.
right, so you can wear a couple of different colors with it, including this dusty pink. Or you can go with a little deeper color and do the gold, bring out the gold. Of course, you could bring out any of the reds, the greens, the black, whatever. But this was actually the combo that was featured in Threads.
When you talk about starting with 3 pieces, so if you, and how the 3 pieces build on each other. So starting with a jacket, then going to a pant, and then some kind of t-shirt.
Right.
So,
and then you start to change up the jacket concept and change up the profile of the pant concept. The Maison joggers, for example, can be made without the band at the bottom, and they can be made in a very silky fabric and be real dressed up. Or you see jogger styles actually in silk, so it doesn't have to be a casual knit fabric. So we have 2 pant styles, 2 jacket styles, 1 t-shirt style that we did a couple of classes with, one where you embroidered and embellished them by hand and all that. So then we have this kind of casual pant with this interesting bottom to it, but you can also bring in a fuller pant, different leg width. These are the West End pants. And this is in the polynostic fabric that we've talked about a couple of times on Facebook Live. And one of the things that we love about this fabric is you can use this fabric in a wide leg and you are as skinny as you can look in that kind of fabric because it has that weighty, hangy drape. Somebody emailed me a couple of weeks ago and asked me if it was sort of like the old slinky knit, which is probably not something you even know about. That's kind of my generation of fabric. And I don't see very much slinky around anymore per se, but this is clearly that variety, but it's more matte and it's a little more upscale, I guess.
elevated.
Elevated, that's a much better word. That's a much better word. So they featured this ensemble in threads. So that was that combo.
I'm obsessed with my West End wide leg pants, which I could make about 17 more of those.
And you're going to make a pair this week.
I am, yes. I have and you talk about color, starting with a print. And I think that's interesting because,
yes,
you might not think to really go to your stash and grab like the brightest print at first and then kind of take things from there. You might just want to start with a solid color, but I like that you mentioned starting with a print and then from there kind of taking colors from that print, maybe some ways you wouldn't normally have thought about it, and moving on.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of your box a little bit on color. And I think it's interesting to try to seek out new color combinations. And you might start with a print like this and realize, oh, all of these colors really look good together, and you might find some coordinates and then never use the print. But that was your starting point. And so that was one of the concepts that we talked about. I'm always looking for interesting color combinations. As I've taken up watercolor, I bought myself a little color wheel. And you can buy these little cheap paper colored wheels, and it's nice.
I don't know if I've ever used a color wheel.
Well, I hadn't either until like 6 months ago. But for paint, I've learned that opposites, contrasting colors really look good together. And so you can look at the color wheel and realize that this, let's say red-orange, looks really good with this blue-green. It's the opposite on the color wheel. And that's a color theme that you would never think about. You would never consider it without looking at something like this. Mm-hmm. So you can even print these off on the internet. You don't even have to buy this. You were inspired by something that we saw in London.
Yeah, so here I am in London sitting in a hotel lobby with my ribbed knit West End long pants. Can't see all of me, but you get the idea. This is a Kit Kemp hotel. If you look up the Knightsbridge Hotel, you'll see the interiors of this hotel. Kit Kemp has, 5 hotels in London, and she's the interior designer. So you look at this photo and you're already noticing like these 2 different plaids that you wouldn't maybe put together because the scale is different, the flowers, the browns, but taking inspiration from lots of different sources, this is a great way to start. The greens up here.
I think using interior design magazines and resources is a great way to think about new color schemes, because you're not looking at garments, so you're not influenced by what the garment's made out of. You're just looking at color. It might be a picture of an interior, a living room or hotel or whatever, or it might be...
One of the things I remember from my childhood is you always tearing out interior pages.
Yeah.
Which you still do.
Which I still do, yeah, I still collect them. But it might even be a picture of some food. So here's some salmon on top of a plate. And so here's a color scheme that I would never have thought of. Salmon color on top of blueberry with some dull gold utensils. So I might say, I might think of this color scheme, particularly with the blue, oh, I need to wear my silver jewelry. But no, put it with your gold jewelry or your burnished gold jewelry. So think about even something that's not even related to clothing as your starting point for a color scheme. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? I think that we're absolutely staying in the soft and drapey category of fabrics. We're looking for comfort and casual, washable, stretchy, and don't want to have to go to the dry cleaners. And we're also interested in environmentally friendly fabrics, cottons, hemps, bamboos. So many of our rayon knits and rayon fabrics are made from bamboo, because that's how viscose is made, with a wood pulp, and they're using bamboo now. So people are really watching that, and we're trying to get more sustainable in our acquisitions of fabrics as well, which is not as easy as it sounds, but it's getting better. So people are heading that way. I just got, every day I get some sort of an email from Eileen Fisher. In today's email, there's a person sitting on the floor surrounded by the clothes that people send back to Eileen Fisher. Did you know you can do that? Mm-hmm. If you buy something from Eileen Fisher, you take it back, they'll give you $5. It goes somewhere, and they recycle, repurpose, and make new clothes that you can also buy on a secondary site from Eileen Fisher, which is pretty fun. Mm-hmm. So she's all over it. They're doing sustainable cashmere things today, which I thought was interesting. So there's that. What else? So, let's look at some fabrics. And do we need to answer any questions before we go on, or?
There is a couple questions.
Okay.
So what fabrics and patterns are your t-shirts made from?
All right.
Do I need to repeat these?
Oh, yes.
What patterns and fabrics are the t-shirts made from?
All right. Well, my t-shirt is the Crane Street tee, and this is a cotton jersey. I do have the center panel on this is a contrasting viscose rib knit, which we have talked about and promoted for a long time. So that's my t-shirt. You actually have on a Eureka.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is the Eureka top. I wonder if it's lengthened, because I generally like to lengthen this pattern, so it might be.
I suspect that it is probably a couple of inches. This one is a swing tee, one of our favorites. Nice fitted t-shirt through the shoulders and bust and sleeves, and then there's a generous flow to the bottom of it. And this is a viscose and bamboo knit. And this t-shirt is, again, a cotton and spandex knit.
And this is the Crane Street tee.
Yes. So those are the 3 t-shirts that we have on.
There's a couple questions about the Mayfair kit.
Okay.
The first one, can we see it on?
Sure. You want me to put it on? You want to put it on?
I'll put it on. I don't think I've
Which color would you
put it on
like?
Yet. The camel, please.
Okay.
The camel's a large and the black and white is a small, just for reference.
Okay. These are some really beautiful snaps that come in the kit that are tortoise shell, which we source especially for this coat. I haven't seen this on you.
Neither. So Erin made this, and this is a size large, and I'm about 5. If you round up, I'm 5'10".
And the idea was to have, we added this panel, and with the idea that it would just kind of carry across as a bottom portion. We're gonna talk a lot more about these coats in our 1 o'clock Facebook Live Zoom session. So you'll be able to ask a lot more questions then, and we'll talk a little bit more about the features then. But yeah.
Maybe if there are people who want to sign up for that class.
Well, that's right. You can sign up for the monthly class, and you can join and see us at 1 o'clock Central Time.
So let's answer a couple more of those questions for that
Okay.
reason. Can you wash this fabric?
Absolutely.
You can wash this fabric, yes.
Yes.
Okay, and what keeps the color up like that? I wonder if they're confused about there's a panel.
Maybe it's the collar.
Oh,
Misspelled or something, maybe?
just what keeps, that's true. What keeps the collar up like that? That's true.
Well, it doesn't have to stay up, but it's sort of meant to. It's the construction and the 2 layers that I think keep the collar up.
How you do the shoulder.
Yeah, because there's no interfacing or understructure to it. So it's just how it's built.
Is there a way to add a closure further up? I like my rainwear not open at sides.
Absolutely. You can put the snaps wherever you want. I think there is a sort of limit on that because of the construction of this curve, but you could also change that and square it off if you wanted to and add something up here.
And is there a discount for the kit for Sew Club members?
Yes.
Yeah, one of the main kind of amenities of Sew Confident membership is you get access to, well, you get first access to any of our new projects and new patterns, new kits. So that's a big amenity. And then you also get a discount the whole year, 15% off. So yes.
Fabric, kits, and patterns
Yes.
on anything all year. That is one of the benefits of Sew Confident.
I love the color at the bottom and that it matches your hair.
Yeah, oh, yes, it does match my hair. I was just thinking this morning how I want to go back to blonde, but maybe not. The camel is a color of the season. We saw that a lot in London. Full coats, sweatshirts, pants, tone-on-tone looks. But, you know, we already picked out this color before we went to London, but it kind of, you know,
Solidified our choice.
Yeah.
Confirmed our choice.
And camel was kind of it was sort of they used it as a neutral in London.
Right, they put it with a lot of navy. Again, slightly unexpected color with burnt orange. It was, speaking of burnt orange, well, we'll talk about burnt orange later, but yeah, I mean, they had a lot of burnt orange with camel. Yeah.
And can you put a hood on the coat?
That'd be tough.
Can you repeat the question?
A hood, can you put a hood on the coat?
I think probably you could, but it would not be, if you happen to own the Soho coat pattern, I think you could impose that pattern on the top portion of this coat and do that, where the front carries up and becomes the hood and comes around. It would take a little doing, and I haven't done it. It's not like you could just attach a hood, I don't believe.
Or color block the Soho.
Exactly. Take the Soho pattern and color block it like this. There you go. That'd be a lot easier.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay. So let's look at some fabrics. So we don't have really any of these fabrics left. They were part of our kit program for 2022. So we devised some other colorways of things. And starting with, we do have this color of this very special cotton matelassé in the olive color. That is the one color we have left. We have a few cuts of a raisin color of this fabric. But this is a matelassé fabric that I just was crazy about the texture of. Mm-hmm. So we do have the olive in it. And you can choose texture. Which side you want to use, where the motifs are either in the light color or in the dark color. I actually think this is the wrong side of the fabric but I'm not sure there's a true right and wrong, and this is probably the right side of the fabric. So that could be your jacket.
It would be fun to take the sterling and even on those panels, like the back panel or the side panel, reverse
That would be very cool.
the front and back.
That would be very cool. So then you could add a t-shirt, whether it's the Crane Street or the Swing Tee or the Eureka. This is a viscose knit. And I think these are really interesting colors, where you have this mustard with dark teal and green. And so you could continue with your tonal pants in the Hudsons or the West Ends, or you could kick that color even with this teal, and that would be a fantastic.
Yeah, I love this. And I'm wearing West End pants in a linen, regular length, so
Yeah.
West Ends are a great option.
I also think this would make a fantastic pant with this, and then use this as a top in a woven. So you could make a mix-it shirt or top or tank,
A Eureka.
a Eureka in this, and then make this in pants to go with this, if you don't want the wild, wonderful print like this. So this is kind of a whole series right
Or
here.
even using this as a panel on a shirt, one part of a t-shirt, like the back of the Crane Street tee panel.
Right.
And then matching a color in here for a more solid.
That's a great idea. Okay. I'm not so sure about what you couldn't make the Crane Street in a woven. You'd have to watch about the sleeve, but the body certainly I think could be made in a woven. So then, Betsy pulled this out yesterday. I think this is a very unique print and would make a gorgeous Ikena jacket. It's just very, very, very unusual in its colorway, with this luscious bisque background, the cranes, and the koi fish. So the koi fish are in beautiful blues and teals. It brings in some butter colors. I just think it's quite unique, not just in the colorways, but in the whole style of the print. This comes from England, and this is a new brand that we've been carrying. So you start to think about what you can put with this. And you could make a t-shirt in either this, which is a cotton listen to me, a cotton and spandex knit, or in this one, which is actually a very, very lightweight mint-colored ponte in viscose with a little bit of nylon and spandex. You've got combinations of t-shirts or pants in this, but you can also pull this over. And
yeah, pants would be fun in this.
yeah. I kind of liked this palette of all similar values, but if you like to wear a darker bottom, I think that's a beautiful color as well. So you could also pull in some burnt orange if you like to really play up the color.
And this is an Ikena too.
That would make a gorgeous Ikena.
With
This
burnt
has always been
orange.
one of my favorite fabrics. It's actually a wool challis, but it's got, wool challis have that beautiful hand to them, very drapey, very luxurious, and very British. So
I would make a jacket out of this, a shirt with the burnt orange, and maybe like these as pants, or
that'd be pretty cool. You could make a shirt out of this to go under this. I mean, I even like that. So we think we have some interesting combinations but you can see how we started to build it. The first fabric that came out off the shelves was this, the print, as we've talked about, bringing in the colors and changing the texture and the fiber according to what you would make out of it.
when you talk in your article about finding something from your stash. So if there's something you haven't used, it's in your fabric stash that's just there, that's a fun print, grab that first and then build around it.
Right, exactly. So,
Is the raincoat fabric washable?
yes, the raincoat fabric is washable. Yeah, it's rain repellent, rain proof. Water beads up on it and you're not going to get soaked. But it's very lightweight, which is what I liked about it.
Any plans to make the West End pants a download?
Any plans to make the West End pants a download? That will happen at some point. I know it will. I can't tell you when, but we are in the process of a whole process of converting as many patterns as we can, as quickly as we can in digital form. We're just got a lot on our plate and very few people, but we're working on it. Is that about it?
I don't see any other.
All right. Well, we hope to see you Sew Confident members in an hour and 15 minutes, 1 o'clock Central Time. We'll talk a little bit more about ring code and anything else you want to talk about. It's kind of an extra Q&A session for you Sew Confident members.
And you can still join Sew Confident now. You might be thinking, oh, it's November, there have already been 11 projects, but you can buy it now. And you get access to all of those projects for the year. And maybe that's something, you've liked some of the things you've seen today, and you can start with one of those. But that would be, if you want to join, and you want to join the Facebook group and see us at One Today, you can buy that annual membership for $425?
$425.
$425.
Or you can buy the month for...
Well, the month isn't released yet because the pattern's not out.
Got it.
And the workshop, the materials list isn't
That's
out,
right.
but that will be out on the next week on the 11th when the pattern comes out. So it's just easier for you to have the class with the pattern and everything to get ready for the video that will come out the following week. So stay tuned for the online workshop, but maybe you want an early Christmas present and join Sew Confident for 2022, and then you can kind of kickstart into 2023. So that is available. You can join for $425.
So all of these patterns that we've talked about are on sale this week. The Sterling jacket, Crane Street tee, Hudson pants, Ikena jacket, swing tee, Mason top and joggers, and West End pants. And then we're also offering the Mason jogger class, which was one of the monthly classes. That'll be $38.25. Learn how to make these pants. And we also have, we've had this before, but we're just offering it again. If you want more inspiration of where to find interesting color schemes or what to make now, go to our mood board tutorial, which we're offering for $5 for the next week. So.
There was a couple of questions about the wool challis. They want to see the back side of it, and what pants would you make?
Oh gosh. Well, the back side looks pretty darn similar. So if you wanted to make a loose jacket, it would look good both sides. But pants-wise, I would make the West Ends, the Chesneys, the Hudsons, the Valencias, something that has a little flow to them. Those would be my four favorites.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
For coming
Thanks,
to Kansas
everyone.
again.
Sure.
And we'll
Good to
see
see
you
you guys.
in an hour or so, and we'll see you next week.